hypothetically, back to a conversation we were having the other day, Augie, it's like you hear stories like this, and then you're like, all right, well, obviously this thing that's going on with Eugene Cooney is terrible, right?
Yeah.
But like from the horror stories Aiden has told us about like how he just gets shipped from place to place to place to place because he's a minor and he has no control over himself.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to not have control over yourself. So I mean, like obviously Eugenia Cooney needs help, and obviously she should get help. But I feel like
people have this imaginary view. Yeah, people have this imaginary view of like, oh, just go to a treatment center, without realizing that some of these treatment centers are fucking worse than the original position that you're in.
And they don't care to either.
Just losing your fucking freedom, and like
they don't care to. Yeah,
I've been in treatment.
That scares me.
I've been in treatment centers with people who do have eating disorders as well.
No, but the whole, and hypothetically, like you're thinking that you have to talk about Donald Trump in a negative light, otherwise you think that you're gonna get fucking stuck.
That's
a scary feeling.
My therapist, like while I was in treatment, my therapist basically like had control over whether I went free or not, and they would talk about Trump all the time, how much they hated him, all this shit. So I just like had to fake. Like,
I hate him.
I wanted to get on. I wanted to get on their good side, so they let me out. And like, it's like, okay, I finally got out, and it's like, dude. The last day I'm there, like just another fucking Trump rant, and I'm kind of
watch the bed. They might be pushing.
I start discussing how I'm more moderate with him, and she's like, "Oh well, I would expect you to dislike him less because of your sexuality." Well, we were in Dunkin' Donuts actually. She took me to Dunkin' Donuts on my last day, and I like she was just so bizarre. It was like nothing I've ever fucking seen. They're all quacks, all of them. It's like, dude, it's literally like you're there with 18-year-olds or not 18. You're there with people that are about to turn 18.
So what's stopping Cooney from like,
and
pretending?
You're not like, and like you don't have fucking power over yourself at 18 that you could just like go, all right, well if I get stuck here for 3 more years, at least I can go home. Imagine if like you're an adult and you just can never leave because like I don't know. Tommy says there was something where they like try to give him like a malicious diagnosis and he had to fight the diagnosis or whatever while he was in the army because they were trying to get him discharged or whatever or something like that when he was talking to somebody or something like that. It's like that's fucking terrifying, bro. And I think a lot of people have like Superman syndrome where they're out trying to save the whole fucking world.
Yeah, well, yeah. Imagine the psychiatrist too getting Eugenia Cooney in there, and they would not go like fucking ham on her diagnosis and just force her into shit too.
Imagine if your freedom was like entirely dependent on what a doctor thinks of you personally.
That's what it was, dude. That's what it was. That's what it was, dude. Literally, you're like scarred when you get out of that shit, because like you then realize how little. One day the state can just. If you're an adult, one day the state can declare you insane, and dude. This happened to a famous actress, Frances Farmer. The state got her declared insane, and she was taken to a hospital against her will, and they like raped her every day for the rest of her life. And it was like, dude, these places have no the supervision is so lax and shit, and it's like for like supervision like by the state to make sure that these programs are like complying with like ethics laws. A lot of them get shut down every year. A few of them actually.
We hear like these horror stories all the time of people who like walk in, walk out, and there's not a really easy way to handle it. But there needs to be protection like against this. Like this is a scary fucking. Like it can't be all or nothing. You can't lose total control over yourself and have no decisions. But while you simultaneously can't just like run around and kill yourself publicly. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a middle ground, maybe like a certain amount of time until you can like sign yourself out or something. I don't know.
This reminds me of like a really ancient Tommy C stream I was listening to where he was like talking about some of this shit, like the institutions and stuff. I don't know, bro. It's like people have this imaginary view. They're like, oh, forcefully send Eugenia Cooney to, you know, the fucking institution. And it's just like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You think these are just magical places that are just like designed to fix you up, or like some of these like crazy like hospitals, or you know, like I say like the hospitals for crazy people are not, you know, they're not what you think in your head. They're probably supposed to be.
Prisons. But the hospital,
I know. Well, I think Tommy the other day was like pro locking people up.
Well, the program that she went to, I would have, because I've been through it myself, I would have been much more like defensive on her part. But she went to that program for a month, and she made a video like coming back after a while. And
Shane Dawson made a video saying that she's better now.
But look at her weight looked so good, and she looked actually happy.
Watched it again.
Not in Shane's video, and her video coming back, she looked much better.
Her video coming back was like a day later.
Well, she looked much better in that video. So
yeah, that's not better, dude. She was gone for 1 month, and in the video, she was saying like she said some really sus shit, and there was a lawyer present. That was really sketchy, dude. That girl was never coming back and being okay. The only reason she went to that detention center in the first place is because that other crazy girl like tricked her into leaving her house and like fucking right. Isn't that like the case?
Wait, she was taken there against her will?
There was like a whole drama about how she got tricked into going there, or something.
We lost
I
our
didn't
bed.
know that. Okay,
Am I
that's-
wrong? Wait,
Fuck.
Chad, am
I'm
I
gonna
wrong?
finish off yellow.
Adults have a bit more rights in these programs.
Jacqueline Glenn had something to do with it. I don't know if she was taken against her will, but I know Jacqueline Glenn had something to do with it, and she's also leading the charge to ban her from social media right now. So Jacqueline Glenn seems like a superhero syndrome person. I don't think she's a bad person, but I think she's like, I need to do something. There's nothing I can do. I have to do something. I'm gonna do something, and then what she's doing it makes no sense in the grand scheme.
I guess it's just the fear is that she's weeks away from weeks.
Dude, she's been weeks away from dying for fucking 5 years.
Oh, she was. I think she was even worse. Remember, Augie, when you made that video?
When
on
her legs
Red
were like
Fox
turning
Farm?
red, dude. She was
That
like, weeks
I
away.
think that was like the worst.
That
Well,
makes
she was
me
fucking
want
dead.
to delete
She could
that.
die any day at this point just because of like literally this is very similar. This is gonna sound ridiculous. Like it's similar to having AIDS. I mean, not as bad, but your T cell count reduces within your body because it's not getting the nutrients that it needs, and your body can't fight off basic infections and colds and other stuff. And the weight that she is at, the human body is not built to live healthily at that weight. So it's genuinely a matter of time before something happens. And the reason I was making tweets about it and stuff is because I felt
Because
guilty.
it's emotionally charged.
Oh yeah, I was watching her and I'm like, dude,
It's not like a real argument. It's emotions. Like, we got to do something about this. Whenever somebody says we got to do something about this and then they have no idea what to do, that's always like, I get it, dude. We do have to do something about this. If there was something that we could do, odds are we probably would have done it already, but we would absolutely do it, right?
yeah,
There's nothing you can do. Some people,
can't be helped. I guess it's just
some people don't want to help themselves, and you can't force them.
It's a hard pill to swallow, but I guess it's
Like,
basically like
she's
we're
not a
gonna let
lost cause. Any day she can wake up and go, "Fuck, I need to fix myself," and it might be too late. It might not be. But as like a YouTuber, there's nothing else we can do. We cannot help this girl any more than we've already done.
And people are filled with this false sense of hope that they can do something that just radically changes the situation. So they come up with these crazy ass ideas, and then when you argue against them, it's all emotions. It's all like, "Oh my god, you don't want to help this girl." It's like, no, it's just the fact that this probably is going to worsen the situation, if not.
Yeah. You guys ever watch Trainwrecks talk about his past like drug use?
No.
Yeah, he talked to whoever that therapist guy is, like
Dr. K.
G.
Dr.
Yeah,
K.
yeah.
Like,
He
big
talked
into
to
Twitch
him.
now.
Yeah, and he went on about how he used to do like heroin and meth and a bunch of shit, like crazy drugs. And he said he would literally like sit there and like watch people like die in front of him, and he would still like make excuses to himself. He was like, I don't care. I'll just keep using heroin. And he was like, until like I woke up one day and told myself like I needed help, no one could have ever told me anything or could not have seen anything that would have changed my mind. It was completely in my own head.
With heroin addicts, it's like you never stop doing heroin. Like, you stop doing heroin, but your mind doesn't stop. Your mind is like, yeah, I still need some heroin.
It can
As
kill
far as
you.
I know, from everybody I've
The
talked to.
issue with heroin addiction is if you suddenly stop or want to quit, it can literally kill you. So they start
Yeah.
taking heroin again to stop feeling the
Yeah.
effects of withdrawal.
He told me, yeah.
Withdrawal makes you vomit, fevers, your body like it. Withdrawal is incredibly painful and it can kill you. So these people, a lot of them keep using because they're scared of the withdrawal. the feeling of
He also said he
withdrawal.
was really lucky. Like for some reason, he was able to cold turkey constantly. He said he would do like hardcore drugs and opioids for like a week straight, just completely blacked out for the whole week on opioids, and then go for like 3 months without doing anything, and then go 2 weeks just hardcore straight on opioids, and then go like 3 months without doing anything, and it's just like a cycle like that. And I was just like, what the fuck? So he said he was lucky in that sense that that's how he did it. So he was eventually able to actually cold turkey, but it was just really weird. But yeah, you can't help someone. Like literally, he was seeing people die in front of him, and he would still go back and just do opioids for 2 weeks straight. Like, it's all in your own head.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, how do you tell Jacqueline Glenn who's a YouTuber, right? This is a social media personality, somebody who has like so much power now that she
And
can
she was
literally,
personal friends with.
you know, I'm getting
Eugenia.
that. I'm getting that. Like she has so much power that she can like make a living online just by speaking. She can like have an influence on something just by saying something, and she can make a difference. How do you tell somebody like that they're completely fucking powerless, even though their friend is like dying?
Mhm.
It's you don't. I understand why she's doing this. I understand why she feels the way she does. But it's like she realistically is powerless. She's gone above and beyond, quite literally, what she can do, and it's getting to the point where now it doesn't make sense anymore. The argument,
Mhm.
it like lost me. Like, if you like, I'm not like fucking like hypothetically. I don't know exactly what happened. I need to read into it. But if she like tricked her or whatever to get her to go to fucking rehab, do I think that's a little scummy? Probably, but I think it's warranted.
It's
and
kind
I-
of like
I
it's
could
a
look
conversation
past
you
that.
have when it's like ethical doxing, right? When you like feel like your friend's about to kill themselves, so you like dox them to find like the police
Yeah.
information to use in a cop to your house. Normally, doxing is a bad thing, but in that situation, it can be justified.
Yeah, it's not something I particularly would do, but I wouldn't criticize somebody else for doing it. Is what I would say on that one. But like when you're saying like ban her accounts to save her life, I mean like I don't even see a correlation. Like this girl doesn't think there's anything wrong with her based off the interview she just did. It's not a fucking case of if she stopped streaming, she would start eating. Like it's not like it's a 1-to-1. And then people were saying like she streams for 6 hours without eating or drinking, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I stream for 6 hours without eating or drinking most of the time. Like
Mhm.
it's 6 hours. If she was streaming 12 hours a day and she wasn't eating or drinking, then I would say, yeah, maybe you should.
I mean,
shut down,
I
but-
stream for 6 hours on average, and I don't eat during these. I eat after, so I don't fucking know.
Noodle eyes.
I mean, I do. Although now looking back at it, I don't necessarily stand by what I've said. I do understand where people were coming from when they.
Oh, and by the way, I know Jacqueline Glenn didn't create the petition, but she absolutely supports it. And by supporting it, I think is just.
She's
a
probably the
it's just a
biggest
stupid
social
move.
media person who's
She's
promoted
pushed it
it.
harder than she's definitely the biggest person pushing it. So I don't know. It falls on her a bit.
Oh, y'all at the
Um,
hive or what? I'm a join.
Yeah,
this, right?
I'm hopping in the hive.
I mean, I think
I'll
like,
get on my
everybody's
regular count here in a
emotionally charged,
second.
so I can't imagine she'll have like a negative outcome from this. But I mean, I don't know.
Do you
Dude,
want
I'm
her
gonna
to have a
play the
negative
Hive
outcome
on
from
my
this?
back.
No, but I think that like advocating for like a wide scale temp ban to Alex Jones, somebody for a little while, that isn't even like remotely relevant to like the actual issue they're having is super sus, and I think it's like a really weird angle to take.
Uh-huh.
Like, imagine just, hey, can you just Alex Jones her for like a month? But it's like, it's not even.
That's such
that.
an
It's, like,
arbitrary time limit. Like, why a month?
It's not even like that.
What
It's
is
not even
what
like
is
a
the
month.
magical
It's like,
part of like a
until
month?
she's better. So there's one of two things that's gonna happen. She's either gonna die offline or she's gonna get better. Why
Mm-hmm.
the fuck, if you're banning her, taking away her income, forcing her to be financially dependent on her mother, why do you think that would end positively? Why do you think that's a positive experience that she would be grateful for? It's not. It doesn't make any sense. Anyone claiming that would help her, probably really dumb. Or really, or maybe not really dumb, but maybe like really gullible, I guess, or not really thinking it through and just trying to do whatever they can. I do think there's a certain group of people who don't actually give a fuck about Eugenia Cooney, and then whenever you make the argument that it won't help her, they go, well, other kids might watch it and see her and then it may have an eating disorder. I'm like, all right, so you don't actually give a fuck about Eugenia. You just want her off the platform so she dies not in front of children.
Mhm.
Okay, then all right, then why
Yeah,
don't you
there's
just
definitely
mask
like
off
a
and
large
say it?
part. I mean, the way the thing is written, it almost comes off like a concern troll. You know what I
I'm
mean?
Like, dude, why don't you just go like mask off? Like, if you really only give a fuck about people watching it and potentially getting eating disorders, and you think the girl's like too far gone and she just shouldn't have a platform, then why can't you just come mask off and say like you don't actually give a fuck about the girl? I mean, like, there's so many
What's
people
the
in my
Hive
timeline
IP?
who are saying,
Hive.
On
I don't know.
accept my invite.
Demon
Why are you on
Satan.
like little crusty? Why are you on this like different account?
Holy shit.
and concern trolling is so dumb, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be fucking shocked if we find out that thing was written by a troll.
The Eugenia Cooney thing?
It was written by a troll who just,
It's
who
like
just
a
hates her.
Didn't you have a
convinced
theory
all
about
of
that,
her-
Augie? That like sometimes on Twitter people just post random shit like that.
Dude,
just to
it's
say,
concern-
oh,
the
Yeah.
efforts that people go to concern troll is insanity sometimes. Like, holy shit. Dude,
Wait,
you were
what's the
reading off that
Hive-
email one night. Hold on. You were reading off that email one night where somebody was like trying to like troll you into like getting me kicked off of your thing or whatever. And they were like, listen, Augie was a great kid, but... Or no, they wrote you an email before. They were like, Oh, it was something real. It was like kissing your ass. It was like, you're Nick DiOrio. You're so cool. You're so awesome. By the
And
way,
Augie's a rape apologist.
yeah, Augie was on TV supporting rape, and it's just
Wait,
like,
wait, wait. What you didn't hear is that this was like 3 weeks apart.
yeah, wait, they
the
take
first
time
one-
on this shit. They take time. They literally wait. They mask themselves as somebody who's like a normal person, a relatively normal person, so well. It's not even that hard to pull off. I bet I could do some pretty convincing concern trolling if I really wanted to somebody. It's not the thing about concern trolling is it's so easy to deceive, and it does not take that much brain power to pull off. So
I have a
I could
question for
totally
you,
believe
and
that
this might
shit.
be nuclear, and I might have to walk it back. But my
What?
point is like, how do you like? Maybe I don't understand the mind of a fucking 12-year-old girl, but how do you look at Eugenia Cooney and go, that shit is healthy? I want to look like that.
If you're like insecure about like
Mental
how
disorder.
how you
Yeah, but if you Google her name, it comes up like
that,
Death
but-
Skinny.
I think
Well,
that they are just.
It's
No,
what
if
Connor.
they're-
It's what
they're
Connor was
afraid of
talking
being-
about
they're
before,
afraid of-
right? Like you can watch people die in front of you, and you
Yeah.
can still be
What about-
addicted to
whoa,
AIDS.
wait, what did you say, Aiden?
Body dysmorphia. I suffer from it.
Okay, so can you expand on that?
Basically, you have an image about your body, and you believe
And are you saying that they get that from her, or they
they
had
won't
that
get
and they
it from her,
watched
but they can look at her methods for inspiration
did they just
to
die
fix
or
the
what?
part.
They
that-
AFK.
So I think a roundabout way of what you're saying is if these people
I'm
had
hopping off the
issues
server.
beforehand, and then they watched her content, and maybe that could have enabled
Yeah,
it.
it's,
Or
I'm
it
not
could've-
blaming her. I'm
But
not.
that's
blaming-
what. But my people are saying that watching her can make you fucking. My argument is the same as the
Absolutely,
alt-right
yeah.
alt-right pump line, dude. The alt-right pump line, bro.
Yeah, I
No,
love
it's
the
the
pump
same
line, dude. I love
Dude,
pumping.
Pump it up, bro. No,
Yeah.
the alt-right pipeline. It's like I think if you like watch a Sargon video and then watch a few more videos down the quote-unquote pipeline, and you have a problem with like black people now, I think that says more about you than it does. the
You had
content you're
something
watching.
inside of you
Like,
before
there's
that had
something
that
inside
was.
of you that's like, or
That
you
was
had
thinking
these
about it.
thoughts and then they
something
came out.
good inside of you.
There's
All
no-
right.
Okay. But also, yeah, but also in general, young girls or especially like teenage girls who are just starting to be like trying to get confident with their looks and stuff like that, they'll be like, oh, maybe I'm a little too
They're
fat.
easily impressionable.
But they're actually not that fat. But they're like, oh, I need to be like model skinny or whatever, like Eugenia Cooney or
How
like
many
whatever.
people are finding Eugenia Cooney and they're finding her just by her videos and her streams, not like articles titled "Eugenia Cooney is gonna die."
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
Like how big is her? Is her fan base new or is her fan base legacy? Because you have to imagine
Might
there's
be
a
legacy.
fuckload of concern trolls in her audience that are just happy
It's
to be.
probably-
Well, okay,
yeah.
you know why I think there's a bunch of concern trolls? Her last video got shit on. Dislikes, negative comments. I'm like, these are the people that care so much about mental health. Why would you, if you care so much about somebody that, and you find somebody that's in like a rough patch like that, to put it as lightly as possible, why would you shit on them for that, right? Like, if you
Well-
care so much, why would you talk shit to them?
I don't like this
doesn't make any
example
sense.
because it's like really real, and I don't want to like make a fucking statement like this. But if we move to a different creator for a second, who I think I'm drawing a fair parallel to, there are people who donate to Wings of Redemption, so he dies on stream. Like that's the kind
Yeah,
of thing.
and there's people that
They
donate to
donate
Only Use Me
to-
Blade that fully want to see that guy
They want
drink
to
himself
see
to death
him
and want to see his
die
legs
on
rot.
stream.
That's literally, and I'm not even joking, I'm not saying this hyperbolically, Only Use Me Blade has a career on the internet because he has a large audience of people that are literally investing in his own death, his own self-destruction.
Yeah.
That happens.
true.
That's real.
And I
Yeah,
think
there's
there's a
actually studies on it, too.
percentage of her audience that is that.
That's all the
Yeah.
IRL streaming audience is. Do you think when people donate, they say racist shit when people are like surrounded, in the hood or something? Do you think they're donating that to be funny? No, they literally want to see their favorite IRL streamer get the shit kicked out of them, get their brains blown out right in front of them on stream. That's why people donate to that shit. There's a large audience of people that literally just they're not watching Critter because they enjoy that person. They're watching the Critter because they want to see that person
Yeah.
literally kill themselves.
I watched this YouTube video. It's called "Why You Get Spooked" from Fourth Walls, and it brought up this game show where basically the idea of the game show was that the entire audience would vote on something happening. They were like watching this guy like live, and the entire audience would vote on something happening to the guy, and they could either vote for something good to happen to him or something bad to happen to him. So like he'd be at a bar and like they could vote for the guy to like get his tab covered, or for some guy to come up and like, or some girl to come up and say that she like grabbed his ass and then he gets beat up or something. And
Mhm.
every time the audience were all wearing masks, they were all anonymous. Every time they voted for the bad thing, like 50 times in a row, they always voted for the bad thing to happen to the guy because they were like, anonymous. They were behind, you know, there was no like negative consequences to what they were doing. And like without fail, they just always vote for something bad to happen. It got to the point like it was like the idea was that it was hidden cameras, and there was like get kidnapped or like win $1,000, and they were voting for him to get kidnapped, like for him to literally get terrified and be kidnapped. Like that's how people are. It's like actually kind of in human nature.
Humans are subconsciously sadistic most of the time.
We watch train
Whether
crashes.
whether they admit it or not. We're drawn to that.
People
kind of shit.
rubberneck when the people
There
are
was a
fucking
British
in
guy who
farm
I'm
did that.
perfect.
He gave a woman. He put a woman in a room with a cat, a kitten in a box, and a button. And he said, if you click this button, the kitten will be electrocuted. But if you don't click this big red button while I'm out of the room, you'll get $5,000. So the woman sat in the room, and he left her in there for about 20 minutes or something. And she was sitting there, and she was sitting there waiting, and eventually she starts like crying and shaking and moving towards the button, and she seems almost compelled to, and she clicks the button, but there wasn't actually an electrocution like thing set up. She didn't know there wasn't though. It's just crazy how she was willing to kill the kitten instead of like, and she's a cat lover too, so it was really weird.
Yeah.
Wait, what? They're like, if you don't click this button, we'll give you money. And then she's crying and she clicks the button anyway to kill a cat, even though she loves cats.
Yeah,
That seems like such a weird situation.
That's such a weird experience.
I feel like that would be the easiest fucking $5,000 of my life. Are you kidding
Oh
me?
my god.
All right.
To not
Yeah.
kill a kitten?
you feel like I made this up? I'll link it in
Wait,
chat.
Oh,
what do
to
you
not
mean?
kill a kitten. I
To
thought it was
not kill a
$5,000 to
Yeah,
electrocute it.
No, it's five. He
Oh.
said it's $5,000 to not electrocute the kitten.
Wait a minute. What?
Why
That
would
doesn't
you
make any
cry? That
sense.
doesn't make any sense, Aiden.
I think he meant 5K to electrocute.
I
Yeah,
found it.
$5,000 to electrocute the kitten, right?
That has to be.
I haven't watched it in a while, but here
Dude,
it
if
is.
it's $5,000 to not kill a kitten,
No,
that's the
it's
easiest
to kill a
$5,000 of my
kitten.
life.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, human nature's fucked up. People love seeing
Dude,
other people
yeah,
suffer.
I love watching car crash compilations on YouTube. I watch the show all
Wait,
the
could
time.
you just